Okay, here we are today unboxing the GET Electronics ECU for a KTM 450SX-F. This actually one here is for an XFF 450 factory edition. And of course on the box it just says KTM Husqvarna SX-F and FC 450 2018. But this in here has been programmed for supposedly for the 450 factory edition, and the same thing as the 19. We're going to open the box up today, and here we go. We got all of our instructions. I think we can just throw these instructions away. No, just kidding you on that one there. Be sure to read all the instructions exactly the way they're supposed to be. One of them, don't throw them away, because one of them's got your Wi-Fi password and all that stuff in it. So you'll need it, and they got all the cables in here for it. You know, you've got cable. There's the switch for the map 1 and map 2, and there's the switch for the map 1 and map 2. It's got an extension cable that goes with it, which is that cable right there. And you also got another cable for setting the TPS. You can see it's got 2 battery wires to go on it, a positive and a negative. It's got instructions in there for that. Here's the Wi-Fi module right here. You can see that one there. That's my Wi-Fi module for my unit. It's very small, etc., etc. And here's the actual ECU itself. You can see the ECU. You can see the way it looks, kind of green in color. Got these extra cables, got plugs in the cables. You leave the plugs in there unless you got something plugged in there with them. I would also recommend to use dielectric grease on all the contact points. That way there you keep the water and stuff like that out. And there's the unit there. Comes with a couple of stickers. GET stickers you can put on your bike if you want to, wherever you want them. And so now we're going to go ahead and start with the install of the GET ECU for a KTM 450. Thanks. Okay, here we go with my KTM 450SX-F factory edition. You can see that it's got a Pro Circuit slip-on muffler. It's all stock. Other than that, I've got the airbox cut, which is basically the little deflector plate out of it, and it's also got a 2-stroke air filter cage where it doesn't have a backfire screen. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and take the seat off of it and the airbox cover off of it, so you can kind of look in there, and then we'll start taking it apart. We'll have to take the gas tank off to go ahead and run all the cables and everything, but I'll show that. Thanks. Okay, step number 1, take the seat off of it, take the airbox cover off of it. Remember, on the factory editions and the 19s, all the 4-stroke KTM 19s has just got one bolt, and it's the bolt on the left side. And if you're sitting on the motorcycle, you only have to take that one bolt off to get it off. Here's all the stock stuff. You can see there's the ECU. Okay, here's the ECU sitting right there. That looks like a pretty good place that the Wi-Fi module might fit. So it looks like everything's going to be able to sit here. Now, what you may have to do, if you actually do put the Wi-Fi module in there, it looks like it'll fit in there pretty good. Yep. You would have to take the seat off if you wanted to see the lights flashing for the Wi-Fi module. You could take the seat off and look in there, since how it's just one bolt. It'd be pretty easy. Another good place you could put is double sticky tape, and you could tape it right in there inside the airbox. And that's probably might be where I put mine. Or you could stick it there. I've seen even people stick them in the bottom. I don't know how well that would work. But that's kind of what we're going to do. So next one we'll be showing all the disassembly and start putting it together. Okay, using the directions, it shows you to connect your extension cable here to your map switch here. Now what I use is just regular. Okay, what I use is just regular dielectric grease whenever I'm putting any electrical connections together on my dirt bike. This one here you can see is made by Permatex, and it says tune-up dielectric grease. It costs about $1. You can get it at, I don't know, AutoZone. You can get it about any automotive place. They have them in stock. It comes in a little tube. One tube is like, will last you about half a lifetime. You don't take very much. What I basically do is take it and just daub a little bit in each one of the electrical connections, just a little glob, And then I put it on the other little connectors, and then when I plug them together, it makes them seal up. Okay, you can kind of see what it is. As you push the connectors together, the dielectric grease will kind of ooze out, and all that is doing is keeping water and moisture and corrosion out of those little connectors. Now, it's not a bad on anything electrical on your dirt bike that you're washing it with a power washer, or you are riding through water and racing and when it's raining and all that kind of stuff there, to have that on all the electrical connections. And also change it probably about once every, if you ride in a lot of rain and everything, or you do some cross countries or something where you're riding in a lot of water, going through creek crossings and stuff, you probably want to change it about every 6 months. If you're riding it as a motocross or not much rain, you could probably change it about every year, but it'll keep the water and stuff out. Okay, here we are with the gas tank off. Be sure to put the gas, after you get the gas tank off, be sure to put it outside, so if it starts leaking gas, it won't blow you to kingdom come, if there is such a place as kingdom come. Everybody should know how to take the gas tank off. Make sure you get just little connectors for the fuel line unclipped and pull it straight off. Watch where it routes down into through the frame, and then take off the 5 little bolts, the one big one in the middle, and the radiator shrouds. It'll slip off just like this. Don't send me no comments on my video that you don't, about questions on how to get the gas tank off. If you can't get it off, go get your mom to help you or something. She'll be able to figure it out. Girls are smart. They'll be able to figure it out. Thanks. Okay, now basically it's all off. You can see the ECU, the old original stock ECU, which I say old, it is not very old. And you can see it's all tore down. Now what I'm going to start doing is removing the original map switch and traction control switch. You're no longer going to use it. It's going to route all the way down, and I'm going to, of course, disconnect this connector here. Be very careful disconnecting it, and remove the old ECU and start adding the new ECU. Go ahead and remove the front number panel. Just kind of slide it over out of the way. You'll see they've got wire ties on them on the little cable that goes out here from the map switch. Just go ahead and cut the wire ties as you get them there. I've got mine wire tied together pretty good, because some of these bikes has had an issue with the starter button cable getting flopping around and gets pinched and cut it, so I just put some wire ties on them, but that's all it takes. Okay, I'm going to give you another little helpful hint. When you take off the connector for the old map switch, it is not going to come out of the wiring loom, unless of course you want to cut it all out and redo you a new wiring loom. So you're just going to cut it, put some dielectric grease in the end of it, and heat shrink you a piece of heat shrink over the top of it if you so desire, or just put some regular black electrical tape just to cover it up so dirt, water, and stuff like that don't go in there. Now, to put the new switch on, you could probably put it right over the handlebars without taking it, but the KTM's comes with those slip-on grips, so it's easy just to take like a T15 and just remove the grip and remove the kill button, and then remove the clutch perch, and then just slide it off of there that way there. It's probably a little bit easier. It would come off of there probably if it was a nice warm day and all that stuff here, but it would probably break it, and them things are probably $100 and something or so. Okay, now you can see the handle grip is all back on, kill button's on, the clutch lever's on, the GET switch is on. I kind of like that GET switch. The cablings for the GET switch and the original kill button has been wire tied down. You can see where I made a little loop in it, and then it can go right back down. It's going to go right down the same wiring loom alongside the same wiring loom as the original. So it's going to find its way down. Now the cable's kind of long. You've got a short cable for units, I guess, that mounts behind the ECUs, mount behind the number plate. And then you got this little extension cable that you saw we put on earlier, and it makes it a little bit longer, but it goes from kind of a little bit short to really long. But it's going to route down through here, and it's going to end right back up here to the ECU. Now we come to removing the stock ECU and installing the GET ECU. Basically, take the ECU, the easiest way, take the old ECU out of the rubber housing. Pop it out of the little clips on the side, slip it out of the housing, hold this button down, and then pull the EC off. Now, I've already disconnected this one here, so it makes it a little bit easier. Just hold this button down with your left hand, grasp this, wiggle it a little bit side to side, not up and down, but side to side, and it'll just come right out of there. And you can see there's the stock one. It's got a zillion little pins in it. And this one here is the very same way. And you can see that it's got dielectric grease where I put it in there when it was new. And you cannot tell, that dielectric grease never gets hard, or it just keeps it sealed good and all that. Here is the old ECU, the stock KTM ECU, and here is the new GET ECU. Same kind of connectors. It fits in the little holder the same way. The only thing, it's in this pretty green color that it's got. It's got GET written real big right on the very top. So it won't, you can impress all your buddies. You might just take your seat off while you're in the pits and just leave it off so everybody can walk by and see the GET ECU. Now, we've got the dielectric grease in the original ECU connector. The GET ECU, the green one, is inside the little plastic holder. And you can see I put a little grease in there on the pins there. Be very, very careful. Do not bend one of them pins over or you are toast. And so you can see this. It basically just lays right down here and snaps it together. Since I'm doing this with my hand on my camera, I'll have to do it off the camera. Okay, here is the GET ECU with the little connector strapped on it, snapped on it. Slide the rubber boot up. I run the GET map switch. I ran it right along here, stuck it underneath these little tabs. It's coming out right over here on this side here. It's going to plug in here to the main here in a minute. Take the little cover plates off. I'm going to put it on there and on the main, but you can see how it mounts down. I poked it right back down into the deal, and anybody can pretty well do this. If you have a little bit of difficulty on while reading the instructions, go get a girl to help you read these instructions. Girls are smart. Now, if I don't say this, my wife will watch this video. She'll wake up in the middle of the night, start strangling me, and you know how hard it is to go back to sleep after you've been strangled for about 5 minutes in the middle of the night. You just almost never can get back to sleep. Just a quick note here, that ground right here, what you want to do on it is anytime you got the tank off is just pull it off, clean it up with a little bit of Scotch-Brite or sandpaper or something, and put a little dielectric grease and put it back on there and make sure it's tight. Make sure these have been done. If you've ever, only this is the first time you've had the tank off or something, make sure that you got plenty of, if you've got a little bit of dielectric grease in there. Also make sure you pull the coil off and clean the terminals on the coil, on the little bolts on the coil. That's the way the coil gets its ground, is through the little, and you can see it's got a little clipper back here. Make sure you pull them off, clean them off good, and tighten them up, because the coil will be a little bit loose. Even from the factory, sometimes they won't be real tight, and that can give you a lot of problems with the ignition system. Okay. Make sure that you really have read the instructions really good. There's not very many pages to them. You remember, after we took the gas tank off, we rotated this back 7 turns. Put your mark on it, go counterclockwise 7 turns, which this is the idle stop. And what it's basically doing is putting the TPS all the way back to 0. You put this little cable in, which it says reset TPS somewhere on it, right there. It's upside down, but it says reset TPS. Comes in the box. It's the only time you're going to use it. Plug it into the main, just like it says right there. Then you connect. I had some of these little jumpers that you can buy for a little or nothing. For, get a bag of them for a couple of bucks. I had some of them extra. I just clipped it onto the battery. And then click, of course, you want to put the positive on first or the negative on first, and then the positive. Make sure they're not touching anything metal. Come up here and you push down on the kill button for 5 seconds and count it out. 1001, 1002 until you get to 5 seconds, and then you let off, and it has set the TPS at that time. It has set it for absolute 0 of the TPS, And then you can go ahead and come back over here and reset the TPS back up to the 7 turns, turn it back up, and that'll have the idle pretty close to where you want to have it. We have everything connected, just like we did before. Here's the Wi-Fi module, it's not on. We've plugged the Wi-Fi module, which it says on there as we showed about it, and it goes to the main, and we hooked up the map selector switch up to the auxiliary or EXP, and that's the map switch, and it's already marked ESP and EXP, so you can't really mess that up. So now everything's hooked back up, the gas tank's all back on it, and I went ahead and connected up the fuel pump relay, the plug going to the fuel pump itself. I went ahead and connected it back up. Now you should be able to, there shouldn't be anything on at that time, and you're supposed to bump the ignition switch, the starter switch, for less than 1 second. And when that happens, as I'll show you to do, you should get the lights on the Wi-Fi module. Now that, I bumped it 1 time, you saw nothing on there. You kind of got to play with it. Okay. Another thing that sometimes you can do if you don't feel like it's coming up like you're supposed to is I went ahead and sometimes start mine and let it run there while it starts, and that'll bring the red light on, and then it'll bring the green light off, and then you can kill it and just bump the starter and they'll both come on. Now you'll get the red light first, and then you need to go into your smartphone settings and then go to the Wi-Fi and wait for the Wi-Fi to come up. It'll come up as instructions on the back of your book, or it's actually up mounted on the bottom of the Wi-Fi unit. It'll come up with Wi-Fi com dash and the serial number of your unit, or the last 4 digits of your unit. And at that time, put in your password. When you do that, that will allow the green light to come on, or basically when you open the app, the green light will come on. And that's pretty much to it. You can set pretty much anything you want to set. You can set the ignition, everything's gonna probably come zeros, means that the base map is in there for both map 1 and map 2, and then you can set the ignition if you're running race gas. You can put a little extra timing in it if you decide, advance in it, and if you got if it's running a little bit rich somewhere, you know, you can, different throttle settings, you can set it. You can also do a diagnostic. If you go to the diagnostic page, all the settings, all the diagnostics items should be in green. If everything's working like it's supposed to, it should be in green. So that's pretty much the way that you hook it all up. I will probably update this video. It's supposed to be, we're supposed to kind of be in the rainy season, so it'll be probably pretty muddy for the next couple of weeks. So when it's all over with and I get out there and ride it, then I can start making some changes to my ignition. Thank you guys. I appreciate you watching the video. Have a good day.